Welcome in. It's the Second Cup Podcast. It's Sunday night of the Memorial, and we have a new champion, but he's the old champion. And joining me to break it all down, Greg DuCharme is here. Gregors.
Rick, this is getting very familiar. It's very familiar company. What a week. I mean, do we just replay last year's episode of the Memorial recap? Just incredible stuff today.
I think we should just pre-record all the Sunday episodes. Just, okay, Scottie won. It was by multiple shots. He led the field in tee to green. And there was a moment where he turned it on at the end. Good night. We'll see you all next week.
Rinse and repeat. It's just fascinating. You know, I do have a question that was in my mind today. Because, look, I love this golf course. Part of the reason is the way that it separates players. Mm-hmm. There's dramatic scoring differences throughout the golf course. But one thing that was on my mind watching this today was what would this leaderboard have looked like if Scheffler wasn't there? Would it have been Griffin, Straka, Taylor, Henley, McNeil, or would it have looked different? Does Ben Griffin's play change? Does Straka's play change? Or is he affecting everybody else, or is he just handling it that much better than everybody else?
Interesting. I don't know. I
don't either.
I would hope it would look the same. But there are definitely, like, the guys that have to play with him, like Ben Griffin definitely feels it. And you see it out there. I mean, it's very much where was I just at? The PGA Championship. Like, as soon as Scottie hits, a lot of times everybody just runs forward. All the fans just run. It's very much the old Tiger thing, and it's very disruptive. It's incredibly disruptive when that happens. And I do think that Ben Griffin, because of the luxury of winning last week, probably was trying to keep up, if that makes sense. And he did a pretty decent job of it. We'll talk about it, but yeah, that's a good question.
I wonder if now look, there are some weeks like the Masters in 2024. You saw this with Ludwig making mistakes, Morikawa making mistakes, where it just kind of feels like they press at a certain time when they shouldn't press. I thought with Ben Griffin's play today, he handled a lot of it very well. He didn't feel overly like nervous or giddy. I thought he played very well. And there's a chance that he goes out and shoots 73 without Scottie there as well. The course is just that difficult. Maybe on some of those short putts, there was an effect like I have to make this, where you may not be thinking about that during a different round. So it's just a fascinating thing. But it's 6 out of his 16 wins on the PGA Tour now are by 4 or more. 9 out of 16 are by 3 or more. It's just utter dominance we're watching week in and week out. It's incredible.
Yeah, win, fourth win in his last 3, last 4, excuse me, if that
win by 8, win by 5, tied 4th, win by 4. Just incredible.
How about we add another voice to this conversation? How about we add in Mark Immelman? Hello, Mark.
What's up, boys? Got you just in time to hear Greg doing the victory dance. Nice to join you.
How was it out there, Mark?
Sensational. This is such a great tournament. The golf course was so good. I think it was so cool. I'm sure you guys have talked about it, but the fact that the top 4 guys on the leaderboard were all people that have won this year already. So, it's a great venue. Mr. Nicholas sets it up perfectly. He was always going to identify the people that were playing the best, and the crowds were out en masse. I mean, walking up 18 fairway, I've been fortunate to do it a few times, and there's throngs of people, and they all surround that green, and it's the sweetest amphitheater. And to experience that, it's a thrill of a lifetime, and I don't take it for granted.
Yeah, splendid indeed. A great week. The final score line, the box line here for Scottie Scheffler was 70, 70, 68, 70. That adds up to be 10 under par. This final round, 70, where he made one bogey, just one bogey, Greg, in his final 40 holes. Mina, I believe we have the scorecard. You see it there on number 10, which was very, very difficult. But this was a master class in managing Muirfield Village.
Yes, and it wasn't. We talked about this on Friday. He's made some more mistakes this year than we saw last year. He missed his first 4 greens. He hit the green on 5, and he missed the green on his second shot, which I know it's a par 5, so it still counts for a green in regulation. But he only hit 4 greens on the front 9, and yet there's no bogeys on the card. Now, on some of those, like 2 and 3, his ball lands on the green and ends up off the green. So they weren't necessarily difficult chip shots, but it just doesn't seem to matter what goes wrong. He stands up to the challenge. Like in this tournament, and now it's 5 out of the last 6 years, the winner has led in strokes gained tee to green. The one year that didn't happen was Scottie when he lost 8.5 strokes putting. That issue, Victor Hovland won that year. That issue is gone, and he's just become a more complete player. I was thinking about this during the off season. This conversation was floating around. Have we seen Scottie Scheffler's best season? Which was a good question after last year. He won 9 times, won the Masters, won the Olympic gold medal. But it's a really hard thing to repeat, and we may have. But boy, it's like his game this year is it's more well-rounded. I don't know if he'll match that win total, but it's more well-rounded.
Well said. I'd love to comment there too, because look, I was in front of Scottie on Sepp Straka's group. And, whenever Scottie missed, like there was a ghastly miss with a short iron into 9 for Scheffler. Now, I understand that because, if you're watching on TV, the whole location's front. It's like, oh, this should be a birdie, but it's narrow down there and there's water everywhere and a bunker and a swirling breeze. And so he tugs this thing way left of the green. The rough was so thick the last couple of days. And Greg, you talk about having the complete game. I don't think we talk enough about the fact that when he misses the green, he chips it up inside of 4 feet or pitches it up most times. Yeah. They're from left of 9 green. You are cooked. And he's got it down there to inside 10 feet, I think it is. And I'm not sure if he made the putt. But when he did that, I looked at my on-course guys. I'm like, this guy's unbelievable. It's like no matter where you put him, he's not going to spill shots unless something disastrous happens and he misjudges the wind or something and he rinses a ball in the water. But from the sand, from the rough, just a basic pitch shot, the guy's a machine. We talk about the ball striking. Around the greens, he's the machine. And that's the reason why the bogey count is so low. And if he keeps, mitigating bogeys, gee whiz, I think I may lay money on the US Open right now. I'm sure the line is bad, but you better get it while you can.
The line is bad. I'll get the updated number, but it's really no different than it's been the last couple of months. And Greg, I think the most fun thing to do, because we get Scottie in featured, like we see every shot that Scottie hits over 4 days for years. Okay. And I feel like he and Teddy Scott, they know the ebbs and flows of a golf tournament, right? You cannot win a golf tournament on Thursday morning. They don't try. But they also do this thing where they just like, okay, yesterday, 13 straight pars. We're going to keep ourselves in it. And then bang, we are able to cash in on a couple of these opportunities. We make 4 birdies in our last 6. Then again today, he's got he makes the turn in 1 under with 8 pars and a birdie, and it's just like, I'm gonna bide my time, and then bang, I'm gonna hit that 7 wood into 15 right after Ben Griffin does, and keep the pressure up. It's just like they understand the way that a golf tournament plays out.
Yes, and that's why in his last 9 events where he's had the 54-hole lead, he's won all of them. Right? That's not an easy thing to do. Now, Shane Lowry is going to come up again later on in the show. And, he is somebody that I wonder if he burns a little too much energy early on in tournaments, because we've seen on these difficult golf courses, we've seen him, kind of fall away late as the tournament progresses. And I'm not trying to pick on Shane Lowry. I'm just saying this can happen, right? When is your peak? And Scottie's able to play such a stress-free style where he's keeping himself in contention. He's not really working that hard, and he has plenty of energy when he needs it, which is at the end of rounds, not just at the end of Sunday, but at the end of tournament rounds. Like, he makes 13 straight pars yesterday. He ends up 2 off the round of the day.
Right.
And it wins him the tournament in essence. The only 3 birdies he made today were on par 5s. They were all short game birdies. There wasn't anything spectacular about this round. And that's what Tiger did. He knew how to get himself into position where Sunday he could, I would compare it to a game of horse. You ever play horse in basketball? The rule in horse is you don't go shoot a half court shot right away, right? You make a layup, then you make a free throw, then you make a little corner jumper. You control the game. You make your opponent make the shots you make, and you see how long that lasts. And when you're in control, you're always comfortable, and that's what he does.
Well, I'll take that. I'll take that horse comp, Mark. And although for Greg, it's probably Nerf basketball as opposed to regular basketball.
Yes, which I call real basketball.
Right, the best at it. But imagine, I like that comp because it puts all the pressure on your opponent. And imagine these guys, Ben Griffin and Sepp Straka and Nick Taylor. Like, Scottie is never giving them an opening. Like, they are almost forced to either say, okay, I'm going to take my fate as a second place finisher or a third place finisher, or I'm going to try to make something happen and run the risk of things going sideways. And it does just put all the pressure on everybody else.
Well, to take the horse analogy further, Scottie is secretariat. Okay, and you're looking at the backside of the guy most of the time. And to your point, Greg, he's not likely to make an error. And the reason being is because the short game's there to save him if he misstrikes a shot. And then the mindset, and you heard, if you were watching the show, you heard one of the ultimate mental game exponents in Jack Nicklaus, and Jack referenced Tiger and made the Scottie comparison to say, look, Scottie is going to hit the right shot coming in. He's going to hit it in the fat of the green on 16, do the same thing on 17, and then on 18, because he's never going to make a mental error. He might make a physical mistake, but when he makes the physical mistake, he makes the save around the greens. But he's not going to spill something. So it almost forces the competition to have to, overplay their hands sometimes. And I tip my cap to Ben Griffin today because he looked like he was playing to win, no matter what was going on. Now, there have been situations in the past where you look at a thing like this and you'll see one or other guy who's in the mix and then Scottie gets out in front. Then you'll almost notice the runner-up playing for FedEx Cup points and playing not to screw up their position, as opposed to still trying to win. But yes, plucky Ben Griffin going, no, man, I'm not out of this just yet. I'm going to fight you till the bitter end. So kudos to him. But Scottie is just not going to make a mental mistake. And it must be, look, I'll put it this way. I'm on the fairways, and I sometimes call these groups, sometimes I don't. But out there, you can almost get the sense watching the players that they know that when they start to see Scottie's name, he's not going away. And that it's not like he invokes this massive aura around him, but just the way he plays does that. When Tiger was out there, it would be Tiger's arrived. And he's got that presence about him. And VJ, and you got some of those guys that do the same thing. Phil, to a certain extent. Rory, maybe. It's not Scottie. He's a nice guy. But he's not going to make an error. And he's not going away. So when he shows up on a leaderboard, it's on you to do something about it. And that's why Scottie just plays into it. And Jack said, just like Tiger, just like Jack in the day, they wouldn't make mistakes coming down the stretch. So essentially, it was on you to go and chase them down. And when you get overly aggressive Sunday afternoon on a course like this, you're going to get caught with your pants down once in a while.
One thing I'd like to add to that and there's been a lot of talk about this, and it's impressive. You look at his wins and where they are. You think about the places. Let's just start with where he's won multiple times: Augusta, Memorial, the Players. Right? These are all places where you cannot force the issue. Right? There's at Augusta National, there's just a way to play it. And you cannot overpower it. Bryson learned that lesson in a very harsh way. And he did learn from it and learned how to not try to overpower the golf course. The Players is a little more obvious. Muirfield Village, you cannot there's nothing you cannot force the issue. You can get hot and roll in some putts. It's very hard to make that happen. So when you start to get on these golf courses where that is the style that needs to be played, it becomes a marathon. And Rick, I saw a clip of you saying that on ESPN this week. He's a marathonist. Mm-hmm. Not every tournament is asking for a marathon. That's why he doesn't win every single week. But you get to a place like this, I don't know what you do to beat him.
Yeah, he's a marathoner. But do you remember the CJ Cup?
Yeah, it's a good point.
Sometimes he shot the freaking grass off that golf course there, man. Gee, what was he, 27-6 under par or something?
He was
31.
Let me see here. 31 under at the Byron.
It was ridiculous anyway.
Yeah, that was a little more of a... Well, he just sprinted that marathon, Mark.
I get your point, and it's very well founded. But he's a guy for all seasons. And there is no weakness. Yeah, we can argue the putter. That's all semantics, man. It really, really is. Because at the end of the day, all the strokes gain stuff in the world, it's cool. It's a comparison. But the ultimate comparison is the number at the end of the scorecard. And Scottie's pretty much number one in that number every single time.
I'll say one thing about the Byron Nelson. He can do that. That's why he's the number one player in the world. I just think that is an exceptional week for Scottie Scheffler as well. What we saw this week, when I watch it, it's like, this is just the way that he does things, right? It's not an exceptional week, even though it is. This is normal. And which is a crazy thing because he just won the Memorial by 4. And that's an exceptional feat. But the play and the performance is pretty average, except for a 4-hole stretch on Saturday where he gets hot. And there are some golf courses where that's all it takes. It takes limit your mistakes and go on one little burst and you'll win. He does it better than anybody else. Yeah,
that's major championship golf. And Rick, real fast, to put some context or color to this, look, it was a stern test. 10 under par. You were playing very well. And that's how Nicklaus wants it. He managed. This tournament is an ode to the Masters. And at the Masters, Bob Jones said he always believed that if a golfer played well, he should break par, shoot 69. So 4 of those are 12. So as far as Mr. Nicklaus is concerned, this is perfect. But on 12, that par 3 today, after Scottie has made an insane up and down for birdie on the par 5 before that, where he was dead. And he got out of there with a save for birdie. Sepp Straka has hit a beauty in there in the group before. And he's hit it to like 25 feet. And the flag's cut way right. And if you pull one, you're in the bunker, you're dead. If you push one, you're in the water, you're dead. If you plug one in the front bunker, you're probably making bogey. So either way, you're in trouble. There's no way to hit it but the right distance. And we go there for Scottie. And Jim says to Jack Nicklaus, so what would you do? And Jack goes, at the TV tower-ish, just keep it short of the back bunker into the fat of the green over there. And the fat's not that fat. It's like 20 feet across between bunkers. And just hit it the right distance. Now, Sepp, who's a flusher, has hit it to like 25 feet. Scottie, incidentally, hits in there 15, right? Closer, the exact shot that Nicklaus said, just closer. And I'm walking down 13, and Sepp walks past me, and 13 goes right past 12T. And I looked at him, I'm like, that tee shot's pretty stern, isn't it? I mean, it's hair-raising. And he goes, yeah, especially when the wind's into you like this off the left-hand side, and it's in and out, because then you don't know how far the ball's going to travel. And at that, Scottie sticks one in there about 15 feet. And I sort of looked at Sepp, and he just sort of shook his head, and he goes, yeah, this is what it is. This is how it is. And that's Scottie vintage over there, hitting the right shots. And sometimes when he's flushing, he hits it in tight. Otherwise, he hits it to the right place. It's stupid the way he plays.
That 12th hole gives guys fits. It's a very, very difficult par 3. And actually, I think they showed it on the broadcast, but I saw this earlier in the week as well. Guys spend more time over that shot than any other par 3 on the PGA Tour because they're trying to figure it out.
Wow.
Every single one of those par 3s today. Man, I stood on the tee. On 4 back there, the flag's cut way back, and it's a sliver of a green, and you into the wind. Straka hits 4-iron. Nick Taylor, who's not short, hits 5-iron. Then you got 8. You're elevated. You're between the chute of trees. The wind's always swirling around inside there. The green is narrow. It's bunkered either side. It looks like a thimble down there. Then you got 12, which is impossible, and you're hitting a 7-iron or something. And then 16 was a 5-iron, 6-iron, flags way back in the corner of the green, water left, bunkers right. The 3s around this play, everything's stout, but the par 3s are all you want. If you play them in even for the week, you're gaining strokes.
Yeah, it's special stuff. Scottie Scheffler, that's his 16th PGA Tour victory. We are going to address this once and once only because Joseph Bosa is a great supporter. He's always in here. He has a little bit of a contrarian view, which is fine. And he raises this point. He says, Live Golf Nation had an interesting take. Is it easy for Scottie to be a bully when Rory wasn't there? There's no Jon Rahm. There's no Bryson DeChambeau. I'm going to say a couple of things here. One, anything from Live Golf Nation is, or if it was from PGA Tour Nation, or if it was from DP World Tour Nation or whatever, is probably not a great source. And am I taking crazy pills here? Or did Scottie Scheffler not beat Jon Rahm, Terrell Hatton, Bryson DeChambeau in Phoenix? Did he not beat those same guys at API? Did he not beat those same guys 3 times at 2 different Masters in the PGA Championship? Am I taking crazy pills here? Or has Scottie Scheffler not beaten all of those guys that I see people make this same silly comment about all the time?
Hey, Greg, while I'm on my podium, let me take this real fast. He beat those guys like redheaded stepchildren in Charlotte at the PGA Championship.
Right. By 5.
Case closed.
He only won this by 4.
I don't get that. I never got this argument. They show up at major championships. Scottie's won 3 of them in the last couple of years, and he beat them before they left too. Like I don't get it.
I got something that's equally as asinine, or at least I found it as such, but then I'm the grumpy old man in the group. And by the way, I saw a few second cut patrons on the golf course that said hello. Bravo.
Let's go.
Okay. So I saw a bunch of rumblings on X about Rory not playing because he was taking umbrage with the folks because of the non-conforming driver, and he was making a point. I'm like, you guys are going to get out of your basement and go and get some fresh air. And maybe the next contest should be to give away some PGA Tour tickets so they can watch these guys play and get a real idea about what happens out there on the fairways around the PGA Tour.
Well, Rory's clearly changed. There's some evidence that supports what he's doing. He skipped this week to play the Canadian Open and the US Open, and he's playing like 7 national. He's playing like every single national Open.
He's global
the rest of the year, right? He's
going Mr. Worldwide.
Yeah.
Mr. Worldwide. I also want the clip of Mark calling strokes gained cool. We're gonna have to get that clip. I'm gonna need that. Second place, 4 shots behind, Ben Griffin, 65, 72, 72, 73. This was a lot, Greg. Look at this scorecard here. Okay, there's a lot going on. He bogeyed 1 out of the gate. Now remember, Ben was at 10 under yesterday, which ended up being the winning score here. Gave a handful back late, and he is trailing Scottie on the first tee today. He bogeys 1, and I'm thinking, oh boy, this is gonna be ugly. This isn't gonna end well for Ben. Immediately gets a birdie back on 2. Bogeys 4, immediately gets the birdie back on 5. So now 2 bounce backs in his first 5 holes. I'm impressed by that. I like that. I like to see he's got the chutzpah. Okay. Then keeps himself in it, hits an unbelievable shot into 15 to get that ball. I think it was a 7-wood to land softly and makes that little wiggling putt down the hill for eagle. Birdie 16, and I'm thinking, all right, we've got something here. Doesn't end up working out for Ben, but I'll tell you what, I was very impressed with what he did today.
Well, he went for it. That's for sure. I did not look at this final round as being something that was, queasy. It didn't look like he couldn't handle the moment. It looked like he wanted the moment, which I thought was really cool. Now, it's a really hard golf course. It didn't go his way. He struggled with a couple of short putts that probably could have made a really big difference. But he said something. He came on Course Record, our show on CBS, actually today. And he said something that I thought was fascinating. He said, when asked about the Ryder Cup, if I'm going to make the Ryder Cup team, I want to know that you can put me in there against Rory McIlroy in singles, and I can expect to beat him. Right. That's the kind of aim that he has right now. And he went out there against Scottie Scheffler today and tried to beat him. I know he didn't. I know he lost by 3 in this round today. It didn't work out, but there's an attitude that he has that I like. It's a competitive attitude. Even after making bogey at 12 and 13, he's like, let's hit some shots. What about 14? The tee shot at 14. That was, there's no that's like a crazy tee shot to take on, and he pulls it off. So I couldn't have been more impressed with Ben Griffin. Couple short putts going up against world number 1. Stellar performance out of him.
Yeah, I went on HQ right as we were going into the covers, or right as they were teeing off Mark, and I said, I don't know what Ben Griffin's going to do, but we're going to learn a lot about Ben Griffin today. And what do you think we learned about Ben Griffin today? You're on mute. Oh man, what a rookie move.
Yeah, damn it. I had to close my
No, I know you did one. You did a good job for your video and a bad job for your audio.
So I went birdie bogey. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm even par. He's a baller. And this is why on Friday night when Greg was basically salivating over Scottie Scheffler, I'm like, hey, easy, Tiger. This is not a given just yet. Everything's going that way, but Ben's not going to go away. And you make a really good point, Greg, because he missed some putts today, Griffin, that is. Now, you can chalk that up to pressure or maybe misreads or whatever. And he fell behind early. But I said it earlier in the show, and I'm going to say it again. This guy's up for it. And, going after 14, stiffing that 7-wood and making 3 on 15, that was special. He could have been padding second place a little bit then. Then the flag on 16, if you hit it at that thing, you are a moron or you've taken a leave of your senses. All right. Sorry. I'm decompressing from golf today. And he's hit it in there like 20 feet hole high, which is it's about as good as you can, close as you can get it. And then he makes the putts. And the crowds went bananas when he did it. And then he got up there on 17 and you could see now I'm going to drive the cover off this thing. So he's playing to win. And I'm getting more and more impressed. The first time I caught wind of him was in Bermuda a few years ago when he had the lead and blew it. And since then, he's steadily grown and grown and grown. And then we've seen him pop up on leaderboards, and all of a sudden, then he gets the win alongside Andrew Novak. And then, was it last week? Everything's blurring for me right now. Colonial.
Yes.
That golf course was difficult as well. Conditions were firm, and Scottie was in the field, and Scottie was making a bit of a run. And Griffin held on with some clutch shots coming down the stretch. He is a good one. And he's growing in confidence and in stature. And look, I'm not going to be all a prisoner of the moment, but this stuff is going to help him. All these finishes, being in the final group at Jack Nicklaus's tournament, putting on the show he did, despite the mistakes, he can hold his head high, go to his week off, and then go, I'm coming for you, US Open, because I know I'm playing well. The guy's playing with all of the energy in the world and a whole lot of confidence.
Yeah, and it's not even a prisoner of the moment, because just to remind people, this is more than just a 2-week run. This is a runner-up finish to Scottie Scheffler at his signature event, the win at Colonial, the top 10 finish at the PGA, the win with Andrew Novak at the Zurich. He had back-to-back top 5 finishes at Mexico and the Cognizant earlier this year, and then he started off 2025 with the T7 at the American Express. So, Greg, I think that basically – no matter what type of field he's getting into right now, he's brimming with confidence.
Yes, he wants to be there, which is cool. Like, I love the attitude. He looks at it like, hey, this is fun. Let's go win. Let's go win this thing. And you think like, oh, well, of course, if I was in there, I'd want to do that. But not everybody does. It doesn't always look fun for these guys. It looks fun for Ben Griffin. And I thought it did today, even though there were moments of struggle and you're getting beat. And there were moments in Saturday's round. He made 4 bogeys in a row. I mean, that could have been exit stage left immediately. And he didn't. Look, I know he had it at 10 under at one point and played it 4 over from there in. But, and there are some mistakes that he made, but it was a lot of good stuff. And I like the way that he made the mistakes, if that makes sense. Now, you got to learn from it and clean those up in the future. But this is the kind of stuff that when you get in the mix next time, you can do it.
To me, Greg, that's a hell of a take. To me, also, you can see if a guy wants the spotlight or not. Because here's the reality. Every single one of these guys and every single one of us, we all want to be great. We want to have the putt to win. We want to have the spotlight. But when the spotlight's on, that thing shines bright. And you can see the folks who want it and the folks who have the ability to perform under the spotlight. And more often than not, it's when you get closer to the prize giving time. And when you're in the final group, you can see if a guy wants it or if he's up for it or if he isn't. And Ben came out like a house on fire, man. He was so confident initially, made an early birdie or 2, I believe it was, and he was playing really soundly. Then there were a few hiccups along the way. But the point I guess I'm trying to make is if, the folks that want it but don't have it, if they're in that position, they'll disappear quickly. The leaderboard gravity gets them. And Ben's now shown that he's hung around in all of them. And he was just outgunned by the world's best player today. That's all.
Spotlight's not quite as bright when you got sunglasses on.
Okay, we're gonna get those T-shirts made up. That's good. Scottie Scheffler first at 10 under par. Ben Griffin second by himself at 6 under. Let's round out this podium with another multiple-time winner on the PGA Tour this year, Sepp Straka, a 2 under 70. So he played this weekend in 66-70, a really strong finish for Sepp. The round that he had on Saturday, Greg, was bogey free. It was a 6 under 66, and then just 2 blemishes on the card here on Sunday. This dude is a baller.
Is he on mute?
I don't know. I can only hear him a little bit.
Oh my gosh.
What is happening here?
Well, I guess we just pass it around. Okay, I'm sorry. Now I didn't click mute in the StreamYard.
No, Greg has a setup where he can turn Greg can control his own audio settings. Yeah.
Yes, I have a cough button. It's supposed to shut it off completely, but I have 2 kids that are hooting and hollering in the background. So when I'm not
we like
talking,
it. It sounds like they're excited about the show.
Yeah, they're fired up about. Yeah, we have an audience. Yeah. Here's the thing about Sepp Straka this week, and if you look at the total birdies, Sepp made 18 birdies. He tied Tommy Fleetwood most birdies. Scottie only had 16. Now, here's the other thing that happened to Sepp. Sepp Straka played the par 5s even par.
Yeah.
He made 2 doubles. He had 2 7s on Friday. He had a 6 on 3 doubles on Friday. 2 of them on par 5s. You play the par 5s in 4 under par. 4 under par, that's 1 1 under a day, and you're right there with Scheffler. Play him 5 under, you tie. So this is, look, those are mistakes that can happen around a golf course like this. But like you said, Rick, would you say he's a baller?
I said he's a baller.
Yeah, he's a baller.
Tell me what you saw out there, Mark.
Here's how I'll put it. All right. So we're doing recon before the show, and I'm on the range, and I'm chatting with Ricky, and Jordan's photobombing my videos of my players and stuff. And so it's all fun. And Sepp doesn't take a lot of time to warm up. And his brother, Sam, who's on the bag, comes out, and I introduce myself. And he goes, "Hey, man." And we have some Georgia conversation because Sam still lives in Valdosta. So I said to him quickly, because Sepp played so beautifully on Saturday. And I mentioned to him that I had Sepp in Philly when he won. And so I said, "Your brother, man, drives it as straight as an arrow. It never moves." And Sam looks at me and he goes, "It's ridiculous, isn't it?" Now, for a brother to sort of have that amount of awe for a younger brother, 2 minutes younger, but still younger, the way he looked at me and he goes, "Yeah, man, it's sick how straight he drives the thing." Sepp is real. And he is, I sometimes he hits tee shots, Greg, where I'm like, surely the thing's got to move left to right or right to left in the air. It doesn't. He hits that unicorn, that straight ball every single time. And when he misses, like he drove it like a machine today, and the iron game was a little off. But I felt like he was between clubs a bunch, because if he's between clubs, most guys will go with a shorter club and hit it harder, where Sepp will go with a longer club and hit it softer. And so a few of them were sort of hit flat through the wind, or maybe when the body stopped, he'd turn them over some, and then he'd react in the next one. So the iron game wasn't there. But long-winded, this guy is, he's like a sniper with a golf club in his hand. And it amazes me every time I watch him play, because every time I watch him play, I'm like, surely it's got to come apart at the seams. And it doesn't. And then I asked him about it in the warm-ups, because I said to him, "Sepp, I find it curious that a guy who lives in Georgia and now Alabama, plays on Bermuda most of the time in the year, has so much success on bent grass greens." And he said to me, "Yeah, I thought about that the other day. And it kind of doesn't make sense." And all I could figure out was I read these greens better because when we play the PGA Tour on the overseeded Bermuda when there's rye, he goes, I don't read them as well, which is some cool gambling insight, because Sepp on bent greens he putts really well. And we've seen when he putts well, the way he hits it, it's almost a guarantee that he's going to be around the top of the leaderboard. He's good.
He's very, very good. I'm looking forward to the Ben Griffin Sepp Straka Sunday singles match at Bethpage. That's gonna be a fun one.
Maybe if Keegan's listening, he'll oversee the greens at Bethpage as a Sepp defense.
Keegan's definitely listening. If you're listening and you want to support, we have a couple ways you can do it. The Patreon, we're potting through right now. We've got a list of all the patrons who have supported us on Patreon, or hit the like button, make sure you subscribe, leave us a 5-star rating and review. All those things go a long way. I think I have some crow to eat because I was probably very against these sponsors' invites for this week, which were Ricky Fowler, Jordan Spieth, Brandt Snedeker, Matt Kuchar. Not necessarily the Jordan Spieth one. I'm cool with that. But Greg, oh boy, Ricky, T7, Jordan, T7, Brandt had like the round of the day on Sunday, T7, and Cooch held his own with a T25. So I will be chowing down on some crow later.
4.5 strokes gain putting by Brandt Snedeker today. Just ridiculous. He was just clearly feeling it on the greens. He said after his round, it's just one of those days where you get it on the green and make a putt. So he did have the round of the day, and he also made a double at 12 and shot 65. Yep. So really impressive stuff from Brandt. Jordan got himself in the mix, almost killed a guy today. Fortunately, that missed.
Yeah, there was a couple of almost deaths out there today.
I was looking at that video, And I cannot believe where those people were standing.
They do that every week.
Every week.
I can't believe that people stand 300 yards down the right-hand side of the fairway. And I can't believe people on those shots where there's like, they're taking an angle. There's like, yeah, hit it over my head. No big deal. Like, what are you doing?
If you'd let them, they'd get right in front of them.
Yeah.
They lean over the rope too, and they look back at the players. And I've been back there with players, and the players will be like, if I was them, I wouldn't be doing it with me over this ball right now. But anyhow,
no way. I mean, you've seen the ball speed numbers. They're not slow.
Yeah, you're not going to have a chance to get out of the way.
No. Oh my gosh, it's insane. So, I kind of wished that they moved back a little bit in that scenario. But the fact that Spieth made par from there was just typical Jordan Spieth. But I think there's some really good signs in Jordan's game going forward.
Yeah, I want to add to that because I had Spieth yesterday, and I thought he hit the ball beautifully yesterday. Today was kind of Jordan Spiethian. But I caught up with Fowler before the round today, and I said to him, unbeknownst to me, I'm like, so week off for Canada and then US Open? And he looks at me and goes, no, big eye, I'm playing qualifying tomorrow morning here in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, dang. Because it seemed to me like he'd been playing really well. So I was like, well, play great. And then kudos to him. He earned the Open Championship invitation with a finish this week.
That's right.
But Ricky, who got the invite, played really solid, has been playing well, has got to go to US Open qualifying tomorrow. That's crazy. I find that crazy.
Yeah, I realized that earlier today that tomorrow is the longest day in golf, which is the final US Open qualifying. Max Homa's in. I mean, there's a lot of guys that are trying to qualify tomorrow. It's going to be pretty crazy.
I mean, you think about Max Homa contended in the Masters last year, made the last President's Cup team, has been like a staple in American golf.
Yeah.
And he's qualifying for the US Open. These things just aren't easy to get into.
I'm trying to see what usually it's the Columbus one that is usually packed, right?
Yeah, there's one very close. Yeah, I think it's Woodside, very close to Mayfield Village in Dublin, maybe.
Yeah, I'll find it later. Yeah, so we're rolling right into U.S. Open qualifying tomorrow. Any other? I'll use the bets recap to talk about some of these other guys like Shane Lowry and Patrick Cantlay. But any other notables that we should discuss before I move us on to that section?
Yeah, quickly. Nick Taylor before Canada next week. Nick was a little ragged today, but he's hitting the ball great. And going back to Canada, he's going to have the groundswell of fans behind him. I think Nick Taylor, if we're looking ahead to the Tuesday preview show, is a cool option because I was impressed with what I saw. And just like Ben Griffin, he was good for a bit, then struggled for a bit. Everyone did. But then he gutsed up and he had a really good finish. And he made a great birdie on 17. And then on 18, hit this unreal fairway bunker shot from like 160-something yards with a lip in front of him over the top of it on the green for the 2-putt par. Taylor could be a good option for next week for the folks if they are keen for a flutter.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to when he gets in it, Greg. He's tough to shake.
He's a competitor. He's one of those guys that wants the ball. And I think back to the Netflix Full Swing season 3 that had Nick Taylor and Adam Hadwin both in it. And maybe it was Joel Damon as well, talking about like Nick Taylor was just one of those guys that was good at everything, right? He'd beat you at ping pong. He'd beat you at, cornhole. He'd smoke you in golf. He would just beat you at everything, whatever you played. And I think there's a lot more of those guys out on the PGA Tour than you think. Like they're just incredible athletes. Nick Taylor certainly is one, and he has not been a very consistent player throughout his career. But boy, he's got 5 wins on the PGA Tour. Mm-hmm. That's it's not an easy feat. Ricky Fowler has 6. So Nick Taylor's right up there. It's impressive.
5 wins, and this was his 21st top 10. So he's won like basically 25% of his top 10
that's
finishes.
crazy.
Russell Henley has 5 wins as well, and this is top 10 number 52. So like a 9% clip. So yeah, when Taylor gets in it, he closes it. Do we have the grid, Mina? Thank you much. First off, gentlemen, well done. You kept the winning streak alive. Both of you on Scottie Scheffler at plus 280. You know, it doesn't even seem fair, right, Mark? I mean, there was hardly a sweat. It was just a matter of, Greg said it earlier, is he going to win by 3 or is he going to win by 5? The answer was 4.
I was wrong.
Well, if this was real gambling, you're still putting your own money on it.
Yeah.
And if money means something to you, you're going to make the smart bets. And Scottie is a smart bet, even in golf, which is crazy hard to bet successfully on. And there are just certain places where Scottie fits. And this golf course is one of them. So, yeah, I don't want to say that I'm Nostradamus or anything, but Scottie at the Memorial is a good idea. It's like Webb and Wyndham back in the day.
Mark Stradamus, well done. You also had Sam Burns over Sung J M for a little bit of plus money, plus 120. Now, Gregors, this was this. You know when Jordan Spieth took the slam to the third leg?
Yes.
You took the perfect grid to the back 9 on Sunday.
Yeah.
I laughed. I saw your guys' messages after our show, and I laughed at some of the dribble that was coming through there about telling Shane Lowry that history is in his hands with Greg's perfect grid.
Yeah, that's what I said.
So Greg had Straka over Berger, cash it. Scottie Scheffler, cash it. Finishing position was Shane Lowry, top 20. Mina, do we have the scorecard here? So Shane Lowry.
Oh my gosh.
Shane Lowry started the day in 7th. And Greg needed him to finish inside the top 20. Shane bogeyed 2, doubled 3, bogeyed 5, tripled 9, bogeyed 12, shot a 77, his worst round of the week, to finish T23.
1 out of the top 20.
1 shot out.
Oh my gosh. Now I'll say this about Shane Lowry. He did something similar at the Masters. And I think my read on this is that he really plays to win. Like, I know everybody, he plays to win golf tournaments. And when he can't win anymore, it's like, at what point does that happen? If you go play a bad Thursday round, like, now we could play to make the cut. We can try to finish in the top 20. You could try to figure things out. You know, other objectives come up. But when you're in 7th going into the final round and you make a double bogey at number 3, it's like
you're out of objectives.
Yeah. I don't want to say that he mails it in, because I don't believe he's mailing it in, but I think there's just frustration. Like, there's something in the back of his mind that says this is done. And I think there's a positive to that. There's a negative to it, but there's a positive to it. I appreciate that. So that was kind of disappointing. If only he knew. If Mark got our message earlier and just went up to him and said, "Hey, look, it's all Shane. This is on you." We could have given him another objective.
Hey, Greg, I hear what you're saying, and it makes me think of a story. I've heard it happen before with some PGA Tour guys who can get a little hot around the collar, where if the caddy say if it's a hole that the caddy 4 caddies on, and the player's playing badly or missing the cut by a street, the player will get up there and just ship one out of bounds as far as he can to make the caddy walk back and give another golf ball.
No way.
Yeah,
Matt,
for real.
okay, I'll out him because he told this story today. Matt Every told this story on ESPN Plus today.
He's the guy.
Yes, that at the Memorial. So what it's between 6 and 7.
Yeah,
so
it's a par 5.
It's a par 5 where the caddies go up to 4 caddy. And so they walk like up the fairway, right where the tee box or right where the drives are going to land, and only the players go back to the tee box.
Yeah, and he did it on 6. He did it on 6. It was right after the par 5. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was they were out of it. It was Friday. They were not going to make the cut. Matt just made like a double or triple, like it was over, and he was fuming. and his caddy handed him the driver and basically sent him on his way. And he got over there and was like, can you believe this guy's so lazy? He's not even going to come back to this tee box. And then Matt said he was playing with Brian Stewart. And Brian Stewart's caddy said, I'll give you $50 if you hit one OB. And Matt said, I don't even need the 50. Do you want it left or do you want it right? And Matt shipped one so far right. He said it went into someone's front yard. So that's over their backyard, over their house, and into the front yard. So that the caddy had to walk all the way back to bring him another ball.
He told that story on the air. Matt Every is a national treasure. He belongs in the Smithsonian, that guy. He's incredible.
That man has stories, and you cannot, 99% of them you cannot tell on air. But he told that one on air today. Cracks me up when he tells that story.
Oh my gosh. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's so good.
Now, I don't think Shane Lowry did that, but he could have.
He could have. And then the other one was Patrick Cantlay, which was not as close, but you had Patrick Cantlay, Greg, in the without Scottie Scheffler market. So he just had to finish second. I think he got it to solo fourth, believe.
He had it at 5 under.
Okay, which would have finished solo third.
Yes, but he had it at 5 under through 11. He still had 2 par. So he made birdie to get it to 5 under at 11. So he still had a par 5 in front of him.
Yeah. Then he bogeyed 12, 13, parred 15, which is the par 5, bogeyed 16, 17, and 8.
Right? I mean, this is what you're talking about, Rick. It's for Shane Lowry, he birdies any one of those holes after 15, and we're in. And for Patrick Cantlay, we're right there. Like one more birdie after 11, and we're right there.
Yeah.
Maybe, who knows? Maybe you get a 3-putt. Maybe there's a little Cantlay leaderboard gravity for Ben Griffin, and he makes bogey at 18. Who knows? But it was disappointing as I'm just watching, because they showed a couple of his shots, but I'm watching on the shot tracker, and it's like slightly ahead of the broadcast. It's not ahead for Scottie and Ben Griffin, but it'll be ahead for some of the other guys slightly. And it's like, oh, he made bogey. And then they show him putting it. I'm like, he misses this.
Yeah, now I have to watch it.
Oh my goodness. What a day.
But very well done, gentlemen. You have kept the winners alive here. And Greg, you took the perfect grade as long as you could. Go ahead, Mark.
Hey, I can't see the graphic. Who was my finishing position?
Denny McCarthy, top 20.
Gosh, he was bad over the weekend as well. Okay.
Yeah, he struggled. He had a 77, 76 over the weekend. Played better on the first 2 rounds.
Okay.
I was just clicking through a couple of the notables from, this is just the Columbus qualifier for tomorrow for the U.S. Open. So only Columbus. And I'm just scrolling through here. Eric Cole's got a 7:10 tee time. Max Homa's got a 7:40 tee time. Alex Noren is in that field. Jake Knapp, Cameron Young, Ricky Fowler. It's a good one. It's a good one. We'll see.
That's like a PGA Tour event. It's going to be great. They got a couple others. I know you got Woodmont in DC. There's one in Toronto that could get some activity. I'd be curious about that. I haven't looked at all the fields yet, but last year Toronto kind of took over because there was the schedule switch.
So I'm just scrolling through these right now. This is the Toronto one. Nicholas Norgard, Frankie Sappin, Camilo Villegas, but then you get to there's a lot of guys. Takumi Kanaya, Chan Kim, Rafa Campos, Hayden Springer, Patrick Fishburne, everybody is like a PG. The Columbus one had some amateurs and stuff in it. Basically everybody in this field is like a PGA Tour player or a Korn Ferry Tour player.
How many
the guys that didn't get into Muirfield?
Yeah.
How many spots in the Columbus one?
TBD. They haven't announced it yet.
Hey, and you mentioned Frankie Sappin, so I know you were hot on him. Yeah. I've been watching. He's been a bit of a bust this season. What's going on?
Not a good year And I thought that he played really well at the Zurich or with his partner, and I was hoping that was going to be the spark. We've seen that at times where a guy just needs like a different format, just needs something super talented, and just never. He's done nothing.
Was it Jake Knapp? He played with Jake Knapp, I think.
Is that who it was? Oh yeah, Sapp and Nappin.
Yeah, they played great.
Yeah, but just has done nothing. It's disappointing.
Tough game. It's a tough circuit.
It's a tough game.
Any final thoughts, gents? We're going to Canada, figuratively, not literally. Although, Mark, you're going literally, aren't you?
Literally on Thursday afternoon, yeah.
Okay. So Mark will literally be there. But anything else before we get out of here?
Mark, don't forget your passport.
Thank you.
First of all,
Mm-hmm.
going to be fascinating to see what happens in this U.S. Open. You know, you think about like all the Rory success the past couple of years at in U.S. Opens. Can't wait to see what he brings to the Canadian Open. Bryson, what he's done in U.S. Opens, and now we have this guy that just seems to win by 3+ every time he tees it up. There's very similar to the PGA. It started to have these big boys only feels at Oakmont.
Yeah. Hey, good field next week in Canada. We were talking about it, and Luke Clanton makes his professional debut.
Yeah, baby. Starting to make that money. It's money time.
He's made the money already. He's going to make some more money. Yeah.
Yeah, these NIL guys are crazy. All right, cool. Well, we'll be back obviously next week for Canada, but we'll have a lot to get you with. We'll have by Tuesday, we'll have the final US Open qualifying, and yeah, we'll be looking forward to the Canadian Open. Rory's playing next week, and then the US Open and the Travelers. My goodness, we are just sprinting through this season. But for now, I'm going to say big thanks to producer Mina. She does all the hard work behind the scenes. Mark Immelman, Greg DuCharme. I'm Rick Gehman. This has been The Second Cut. We'll catch you next time.